All right, everybody, welcome back to We Talk Tech. We got kind of an interesting episode today. Typically, TIL, we're about technology within the home. Today, Ian, we're going to take that outside. Why don't you introduce us to our two awesome guests here today?
Well, we all know Nicole. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us again. But today we have James Peters from Vancouver Adaptive Snow Sports. Thank you so much for joining us, James.
Super excited to be here, and yeah, just an honor to talk about the technology that's now hitting the ski hills. So, well, my name is James Peters. I am the executive director for Vancouver Adaptive Snow Sports. That basically means I'm a ski instructor who also does a lot of admin work. Um, and I was lucky enough 18 years ago to get involved in working the Alpine with people with disabilities. And literally by answering a Craigslist ad, I ended up with a job where I got to teach people how to ski and snowboard every day. And since then, it's been an incredible adventure that 5 years ago led me to Vancouver Adaptive Snow Sports to run the biggest adaptive club in Canada. Funny enough, the place where I work now is actually the first place I ever skied in my life when I was 4 years old. So there's a nice symmetry to life that you don't always see coming. Yeah.
And how long has VASS been providing accessible skiing?
Yeah, it's such a good question. We are actually turning 50 years old this year. So VASS
Whoa.
has been around for
Wow.
quite a while. Yeah. When I look at the humble beginnings, it was literally an occupational therapist who had a client that was told that the ski school didn't know how to support them. So they asked the ski school if they could show up with a few friends and try and figure some stuff out. And that quickly became and recognized that there was a need. So they started supporting more and more people. And now today, we have over 600 trained volunteer instructors that are helping on all three mountains in the North Shore.
Wow, those are incredible numbers. You must have quite the
Right.
membership. But do you have people on the wait list? Like, how popular is adaptive snow sports?
Yeah, I wish I could say I meet the need all the time, but I just don't. Yeah. If you look at some of the stats across Canada now, about 12% of people identify as having some type of a disability, which means they could easily come and get lessons from us. In the Lower Mainland, we're close to 3 million people. That means there's about 300,000 people that could probably take a lesson. And this year, we'll probably have help a little over 300.
Right. Okay. Well, hopefully
So,
after this we can get you a couple more.
well, so funny enough, it's not that there aren't more people that want to come. It's just we run out of capacity. So we are very committed to making sure that all of our instructors are highly trained and that the people that come to us have a number of lessons so they can really try and grasp onto the sport. If we were just going to do it, come try it day all the time, we could get a lot of people out there. But we're really trying to make people independent skiers and snowboarders so they can go and enjoy the sport just like everybody else, hang out with their friends and family, and go and enjoy the mountains. I mean, that's why we live here, so we can go and play here. So, although I must give mad props to all of our local mountains, and they are getting very involved. And I'm working with them to teach their paid staff, their paid ski and snowboard instructors, so they can be offering adaptive lessons as well. So we are growing as a whole community, but it definitely takes a little time and energy to get there. But it keeps growing, so that's very exciting.
I was gonna say it's probably an easy sell to some of the mountains, the amazing work you guys are doing to kind of get on board with your program.
Yeah, well, and as I'm sure you know, lots of things that assist lots of people sometimes can cost a lot of money. So, partnering up with Vancouver Adaptive, we're happy to take on a lot of that heavy lifting and find all the right equipment and supply all the mountains with that because we already have programming there. So we've arranged it with all the national insurance companies that if you're a certified instructor working with the ski school, you are absolutely allowed to borrow the equipment that we have. Thus taking that price barrier away from the ski schools and hopefully just making more attractive for everybody.
And what are some of the requirements needed for to start adaptive skiing?
Honestly, none. How does that sound?
What?
Yeah, well, because I don't think it's my position to ask people why they think it should come and hang out with us. If they think that we can help them more than the typical ski school, then I'm in. I don't even ask people create a profile. There are points in that profile where you can identify what you've been diagnosed with or not. You can just say, I don't have a diagnosis, and that's okay. You can come to us, and we will figure out how we can support you as you learn how to play on the mountains.
So cool. And is there an age restriction?
Heck no,
Good.
no.
Good.
I think one of the biggest, and I mean, you can probably tell me more than I know, but I think that as a community, we're often really good at supporting young people and kids in learning all sorts of things. And I think sometimes there's a shortcoming for adults, especially when we look at sport development when we become adults. So no, we have never restricted the age at anything, other than I will say, I don't feel super comfortable taking people under the age of 5. I'm just not convinced that their bodies are ready to ski yet, and often they have a lot of needs that I don't want to meet. So we do say 5 years old, but I'll work with anybody. I think our oldest student right now is just over 70.
Well, that sounds incredibly inclusive, and what a great environment, and just how you speak about it makes it sound like a fun place to be. As a possible future participant, Nicole, how are you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm feeling optimistic. I was a little bit nervous when I heard about it, and I've known about sit ski for years, but it's something I've never done, and something I definitely want to try just to see how it is. I've heard about it from other people, but I think to have all the information and not to be limited, not to feel limited, is really important. So to hear, that there's kind of no limitations and stuff like that is really cool.
Well, and we met Nicole at an event at UBC, right?
Yeah, so that's where we met, and and he's like, "You should try it," and I'm like, "I know," and so he was telling me about the sit to ski and how the technology um, has gotten a lot better, which I think is really cool, like the sip and puff stuff. The sip and puff technology. I wanted to know more about that, even though it doesn't apply to me necessarily. How does that work?
Well, maybe we should back up the story just a little bit because I know somebody who's on this call who has tried skiing. Is there
Skiing at
anybody on this
all?
call who's tried skiing before?
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's been.
I have.
Ian's been. Ian's
yeah.
been.
Many years ago.
Ian, what was your sit ski experience? Because I know that you tried something a few years ago.
Well, to be honest, it was a lot of fun. But I did injure myself a little bit because honestly, I wasn't prepared. I showed up with a roll of duct tape and duct taped the ventilator and the suction machine and the helmet and myself to the sit ski, and I said, "Listen, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I plan on going skydiving in the next year, so go as fast and hard as you possibly can." And yeah, it was an experience. So
I got to follow up to that, James. How much duct tape do you guys use nowadays?
I'm not going to lie. It is one of our standard tools. That has never changed. I mean, in a quick split second, you can quickly modify anything you need to. Although I've started using like a TheraBand product as well. It has a little more give, and I can just tie people up with that if I need
Nice.
to. So if I look at where we were or have been in the past, we've had a mechanical sit ski for a long time. It looks like a chair on some skis with a spring. We're not getting too fancy about it. And from that really opened the mountain for a lot of people that had mobility challenges. Absolutely. You could learn how to, as long as you had some balance and some strength and some mobility, you could figure out how to use this device and maybe even get to independence. And they are getting better and better. And I'm excited about what engineers are doing. We're actually working with BCIT right now to redesign a sit ski, and that's all great. But there's always been this little gap. If somebody maybe shouldn't be moving around as much, or maybe doesn't have the strength, balance, and mobility to ski. And what we would do is just put them in something, duct tape them onto it. That's not really true. We would safely strap them on, and we would help them move as much as they could and kind of ski around the mountain. But I was at an event, oh my gosh, probably 7 or 8 years ago now. And just in the corner of the parking lot, there was this little trailer and this little group of people, and they had something that I could tell was a sit ski, but clearly it was different. It was something new. So I wandered over because I like to say hi to people. That's how Nicole and I met. Um, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're working on developing this machine that someone could ski with a joystick. And it'll have some servos and some mechanical parts. And it's super stable. It doesn't tip, or it's not intended to tip a lot. Um, and yeah, we think this is something really exciting that can work for people with spinal cord injuries. And so, we started a friendship and we kept in touch, and they just kept pushing the envelope and got that machine to a point where it could be skied with your mouth, which is really amazing. Just with a little tube. If you're familiar with sip and puff technology, I'm sure in this show you are. Um, but through a series of sipping in or puffing out, or combinations of that, you could get the ski to turn right and left, as well as a whole bunch of other functions they've added into it. So they were at the University of Utah, which is amazing. And I said, well, great. How do I get one to Canada? And we said, we've never thought about that. So they actually started a company so they could export one to Canada for me.
Wow.
Which is so cool. And they said, well, here's the deal, though. I'm not going to sell it to you because that wouldn't be right. And I said, what do you mean? I don't mind buying equipment. They said, why don't I lease it to you for the next 5 years so that if we keep updating things, you can just send it back and we'll just update it for the next 5 years. And then after that, you'll own it.
Nice.
And so that has been an incredible partnership. I actually just got the ski back last week. It was down there just getting some updates. They keep changing little things. They just make it better and better and better. There's now, I think, 12 skis across North America, and I think there's one in Europe. So with all the information we give them, they just keep tweaking it for us and making it as incredible as they can. And at some point, it'll go to market, and people will be able to buy it. So in the meantime,
Awesome.
I got one in Vancouver. So Nicole, I'm just waiting.
I know. I'm coming.
Snow, if you can just order a little bit of snow, you and I can
Yeah.
go.
That's pretty cool technology, James. And just so there are sit skis. There's the sip and puff sit ski that you have.
Yep.
What other devices? Your Vancouver adaptive snow sports. Is there other equipment other than skis?
Yes, I will teach. I know lots of ways to slide safely on a mountain. So there is actually a sit snowboard that is developed, and they're still refining it. It comes out of Europe, and one of our partner clubs in Alberta's got one, so we play with that sometimes. It doesn't. I haven't found it that it supports people that have really low mobility or balance as well as it could, but they're still developing that. And then I'm just always searching for who's developing new stuff. So I've just found another new product called the Snow Yak, and I got one of those delivered a couple weeks ago, and I'm just playing with it to see how it can fit into what it is. But it's more of a kneeling sit ski than a sitting sit ski. So it puts people up a little bit taller and can allow them to access a few more of their joints than maybe a traditional sit ski. So I'm always up for trying stuff. I figure if we can buy it as an association and it can help one person get on the snow, it was totally worth it. So
Okay, and a friend of mine, wink wink, Nicole, asked me to ask how safe is adaptive skiing?
I mean, I will, skiing is an extreme sport, regardless of what level you're doing it at. The reason we want to do it is because we're sliding faster than we can walk.
Right.
We are
Yeah.
playing with gravity in a way that we don't always get to play with gravity.
Right.
As an instructor, I'm always trying to mitigate risk. So we start in very soft terrain where gravity isn't going to play a huge factor. We start on quite flat runs that don't have a lot of side pitches or anything, so that everything stays pretty level. And then we have super skilled trained instructors that can slow down the speed if we need to, and try to create situations where if people don't want to fall over, then they won't. But falling over is a thing that could happen. In the Tetra ski that we're talking about, it has a super wide base of support. Like the skis are in a big wedge shape and they're really far apart. And we've even added weights to the bottom of the footing area so that it is so hard to flip that machine. It is never intended to go over. So if it never goes over, the chances of being injured are very, very, very low. Nicole, the friend. I mean, not that you're the friend. Sorry. So go for it.
Like I heard about Ian's experience and then I was like, oh, okay. No, I'm not scared at all. I want to know more about the process. Like I've I'm coming skiing.
Yep.
What is the process? Like, what do I need? How do I prepare for it? What do I need? Do I need to take lessons? Like, what's the process there? Like, you know, how does that work?
Vehicle, warm clothes, yes.
Yes.
Did that answer all those things? So I
Yeah.
suggest you arrive by vehicle. It's easier than walking or rolling
Yeah.
up the mountain.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
if you come to Mount Seymour, which is usually where I have the Tetra ski, and then
Um.
we will get you dropped off very close to our building,
Yeah.
uh, where we store everything, so you can just roll out, and we'll meet you there and transfer you right into the sit ski, and we'll just go.
So you don't have to take lessons ahead of time, or you don't have to do any of that, or you.
That's a funny term. Skiing doesn't work well on concrete, so we pretty much always do it in the mountains.
I get, I get that. Okay, so I'm just gonna come up there and play it as I go, and just sort of
So
trust you guys.
So
I'm all good.
we have a progression that will allow you to
Hmm.
develop the skills you need to move in the areas that we want to go. So we're not just going to start at the top of like the steepest hill. We're going to, introduce you to everything, show you how it works. We're going to push you along the flat little bit for like 10 feet. And you're going to hit the switch and it's going to go, wow, and you're going to be like, cool, I can turn.
Yeah,
At some point, you will probably look at me and go, can we go a little bit quicker now? I'm kind of getting
yeah, I
bored.
know. Yeah, it's like every other sport, right? You're like, okay, you start out small, but then you're like, let's go. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's one of my favorite things about this Tetra ski is I think the short-term learning curve is very fast. So I can teach you how to go right and left in a small area very quickly. But then a lot of complex maneuvers that we could do to teach you more about how skiing really works and how the skis interact with the snow and what that's doing when we're applying pressure and going on steeper things so that you can be much more involved in the actual skiing of that machine. On this type of ski, I will always be tethered to the back of you, which means I just have a rope that goes to from the machine to me, and I'm wearing like a rock climbing harness. So if things go very bad, I become a 200-pound weight dragging behind you, and eventually I will stop us. The other thing is that because there is some mechanical devices on there, I have a Bluetooth remote control, and at any point
Okay,
I can jump in
you
and
can control it.
I,
Okay.
I can make decisions. If for some reason you're making bad decisions, I'm sure that never happens.
So
Yeah.
you're talking to Nicole, right? Not Ian.
Nicole's gonna, yeah,
Both of them, maybe.
quit
I don't know.
making bad decisions.
Because of that, then I know that it's 100% as safe as I can make it, and yeah, go and play.
So nobody's ever like left on their own. It's not like you're just like, hey, I'm just gonna get, you're
It is
just sort
never
of
the intention that you would take off by yourself. No,
right. Yeah.
not with this
but
machine.
but like be independent, but like have the safety. You
Yeah.
never
So,
know.
and that's what's
Yeah.
really cool about it is that you really do just get to ski it yourself. My favorite thing about skiing is looking at all the area of the mountain and just going wherever you want to. Like
Hmm.
the freedom of that is the important part of skiing for me. So you instantly get that in a Tetra ski for sure. You just get to make the choices.
Hmm.
If you're making really bad choices, then I might stop and we might have a little chat about the terrain and the safety, how to get after it by the end of the day. Like there's some bigger goals out there than just skiing too. So.
Yeah.
I find this interesting. So there's a lot of conversation from Nicole around the safety and how things work. Now, for me, I haven't skied in years, but the prospect for me in that, strap some boards to my feet and point your feet down a hill and away you go, terrifies me a little bit. And
Mhm.
and I think it probably does Nicole too. Um, but knowing that they have such skilled instructors there, do you find there's any difference in that mental hurdle between people who use typical skis versus somebody who's using adaptive snow sport skis, sit skis?
One of the things that we really focus on at VASS is just meeting people wherever they are, and then we just move forward to whatever their goals are.
Yeah.
And people's goals change too. Like we've had people come up on the mountain and they just get in the snowy environment. We get all set up and they're like, cool, that was enough for me for the day. And I'll be like, great. How'd you like it? You have a good time? It's not my job to push some agenda in people's lives. It's just to empower them to do what they want to. So now as an instructor, if you're getting good, I will absolutely push you a little bit. for sure. Once I know that you've got the skills to do things, I will encourage you to try something that might be just a little bit out of your comfort zone, with as many safety precautions as I can and mitigating the risk as high as I can. But sometimes people need to get nudged through, little experiences. But at the end of the day, if someone just says, "Yeah, I'm done," I'm like, "Great, what a wonderful day! Wow, I can't believe we pulled this all off." So
A little healthy push is good. Something just came to my head, and you barrel down the hill. You're always taking that chairlift up. How does that work with sit skis?
a number of years ago, a sit ski company figured out that you could put some little struts underneath that have positive pressure on them, and you lock it down, hit a switch, and it basically lifts you up. So the Tetra ski is right in there as well. It has a 100-pound lifting system that is built into it. So I pull a little switch when we get to the chairlift, and then all I have to do with another instructor is just lift up that chair a little bit, and the whole thing will open up, getting more distance away from the skis, so that there's enough room for the chairlift just to come in and scoop it right up.
Oh, cool.
And then we just all sit down with it. We pull it on. Often we get the chairlift to go slow just to make sure everything gets on perfectly. And then once we're on there, we take a safety strap and throw it around the back of the chair as well, just as that extra precaution. And then when we get to the top, we undo the strap, and there's a nice flat, and then it just kind of goes down a little bit. When that goes down, we just slide it off, and we just slide off, and away it goes.
Oh, cool.
It is pretty seamless, pretty easy. Yeah.
I think that was the coolest experience, is that I like being at the top of the ski hill. I'd seen pictures from friends back in the day, and to actually be there and experience it for myself was just surreal.
The mountains are a special place, It's I've been lucky to travel a lot of the world, and every time I come back and hang out on top of our mountains, I'm like, yeah, this is home. This is amazing. Such a beautiful place. And I don't know, I find a calmness up there. It's like, cool. I'm just in my little zenny place, and then we start making a turn and everything goes crazy. No, it's no, but the adrenaline gets going. I want the adrenaline. That's why I ski. I want that little bit of like, yeah, ooh, that's, I'm not in a car. I'm not on a motorbike. Like, I'm just letting gravity pull me down this mountain, and I'm just playing with it. That's cool.
So,
it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of going down the mountain, the suspension, I remember it being quite a bumpy ride. Has that changed, or what should people expect?
Yeah, so I will give thanks to the mountain bike community and how that sport has evolved over the last 20 years.
Okay.
And now a lot of sit ski designers are stealing a lot of the componentry that was made for that. So a shock protects you going down, but then there are other devices that can slow down that shock as it's coming back up. So the bumpiness has decreased a lot.
Excellent. So, how much does it cost?
How much does it cost for you or for me? Those are different answers.
Okay. For the skier, for me, how much would you charge?
For the skiers, for a Tetra ski lesson, we charge $100. And that includes the lift tickets for you, as well as somebody, if you want a friend to come with you, or if you have a support or whatever.
Yeah.
So that'll take care of that, as well as rentals for everybody that needs rentals, and all the instructors and everything.
That's incredible.
And that is a big thank you to our local mountains and the way that they support us to make sure that we really can get people up there at an affordable price. So.
Wow. And then it sounds like you have a lot of staff and volunteers, I presume.
Yeah, so to give you an idea how much staff we have, so people that actually get paid to work with VASS, there is myself. We have an amazing admin person that does a lot of our communications for us. She works about 30 hours a week. And then we have a bookkeeper that works between 5 and 10 hours a week, depending on the time of the year. And that's it. And then we have about 600 volunteers.
Wow.
So it is a big giant machine that we have made a very streamlined business, and try and keep all the costs down, and then just try and make it, because of that, try and make everything super accessible.
And how does somebody sign up to be a volunteer?
Yeah, so we do a big intake at the beginning of the year. Sort of the 1st of October is when people start signing up, and they start thinking about the ski season. In your first year, we work very hard at getting as many people certified with their level 1 Canadian Adaptive Snow Sports, or CAD certification. So this year we're putting through about 150 brand new volunteers into that certification. That certification normally costs $500. We whack it down to a $50 price for each person. So again, that doesn't become a barrier for people to come and volunteer. And all of our instructors end up with passes at the mountains that they're going to be volunteering at. So everybody kind of wins in that circle.
That's very cool. And being like in the business we're in and you're in, it's very rewarding to be able to offer the services and to assist people. You must have volunteers that come back year over year and have been there for a long time.
Well, so the president of our organization has been there for 37 years.
Right. Right. Wow.
We have a number of volunteers that are over 25 years. And in my business model, my real goal is just to hang on to volunteer for 3 years. And we do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
I want to go skiing.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Me
Ian.
too.
Let's go. Let's go, Ian. Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. I have to say, James, your personality is an infectious personality, and I think all three of us want to get up on the mountain with you and your crew. It's been amazing having you, and Nicole, I look forward to hearing how your lessons go with James. But
Sure.
both of you, thank you so much for being here.
And Ian and Wayne, both of you are welcome anytime you want a lesson. Just let me know, and we'll get you out on the mountain and sliding and having some fun.
That's amazing.
Perfect. I'll bring my neck brace and my turkey.
Well, I have my own neck braces. You don't need to bring any.
Okay, great.
All right, James,
Yep.
thank you so much for being here.
You're super welcome, guys. Have a great time. We'll see you on the slope soon.
All right.